Hey, here we are,
Just barely.
back in the
I,
land of striving for just exactly perfect.
I had a little bit of a technical problem, just barely made it on the air, but man, oh man, oh man, that bird song. Oh,
Oh my God,
seriously.
that double time section and what everybody was doing with that rhythm, and of course we rave about Jeff and John all the time, but then you listen to what Bobby was playing against that, and the the bass lines O'Teal was churning out, and the drummers were just completely in the pocket. Man,
Yes.
this band is surprising us every single night, and that's what we always delight in with this music. Have been doing that for more than 50 years, and it just keeps on coming. Oh boy.
I could hardly be happier. Why don't we bring Jesse in so we can rave about it together? We're going to have our special guest this evening is Jesse Jarnow, the co-host of the good old Grateful Dead cast, which if you don't know about, you should go subscribe to immediately. It's fucking awesome. He's also the author of Heads, a biography of psychedelic America. Wasn't That a Time? The Weavers, the Blacklist, and the Battle for the Soul of America. And Big Day Coming, Yo La Tengo and the Rise of Indie Rock. He is currently researching an alternative history of music told through gray area recordings. You know what I mean? And can be heard every Monday from 9 to midnight on Jersey City freeform radio station WFMU. And not only that, he's a wonderful human being. Please welcome Jesse Jarnow to our screen. Hey,
Hey guys, hey Gare, hey David, nice to see you.
Hey man,
you have a
great to
nameplate.
see you, man.
Oh man, that bird song. Can we keep
Yes.
going with that?
Yeah.
Oh, you said it. That double time section that they burst into is just beautiful, and there's a spot in there where O'Teal started playing kind of like, I don't know, ARU style. Oh, the sort of fast, jazzy O'Teal Burbridge style bass that you don't necessarily associate with a slow floating bird song. But then there it was.
Well, specifically, what I was hearing was him and O'Teal locked into a vamp that may have been intentionally or inadvertently Herbie Hancock's Cantaloupe Island, which is a tune that got
Oh,
sampled by many hip hop people. So I'm sure it's in their vocabulary from that, but also as incredibly well versed players. I'll have to ask those guys about that if they were, because the great thing about this band is the frame of reference has broadened with these younger guys in the band. You know, you'll hear O'Teal quoting bass lines from the Ohio Players or from Stevie Wonder. You know, Jeff's vocabulary is just ridiculously immense, and of course, John brings his own broad range of taste to bear, and that's what keeps renewing the music. Pretty
Before we
thrilling.
go on, let me take
though
care of a little bit of business here. I need to remind
Yes.
people that we're offering a free preview of the Dead and Company show here on nugs.net. And if you're watching this here on YouTube, you are in a position to convert it to watching the entire thing. You can go to livedead.co and sign up to buy this broadcast. And by the way, if you do that now, you still have plenty of time to go back and watch the first set. You did not miss anything if you order it now. There are also many options for subscribing to the entire season. There are audio-only downloads in a great variety of formats. Nugs.net has a huge amount of music, an archive of thousands and thousands of live concerts and other stuff from a huge number of bands. And if you subscribe to this Nugs.net subscription service, you have, among other things, access to all of the Dead and Company shows going back to 2016. Let's go back to talking about Dead and Company. I'll quickly run down the set list and then turn it back over to you guys. Shakedown Street was the opener, an amazing Bertha. Fenario, a.k.a. Pretty Peggy-O. Me and My Uncle, They Love Each Other, with a nice drawn-out ending. West LA Fadeaway, and that spectacular bird song to close things out.
man. The other thing that I kept thinking about during the bird song mostly, but other points in the set is I could just watch a Kreutzmann cam, just like put the camera on Bill the drummer and watch him drum, because every time they cut to him during bird song, it was just watching him dance. It was so cool.
Yeah, I've said before that someone put out a multi-disc box set of isolated tracks of Bill Kreuzman's work on the ride cymbal, I would buy it.
Totally.
It's a great group, people.
Yeah. No, and I'm, also enjoying very much, Mickey's expanded vocabulary, less anchored to the kick, more floating free across all his tools.
Yes. The second set is where he really goes to play.
Oh yeah.
Has he broken out the fly swatters for every show so far?
I haven't noticed. Yes, Jesse, you may not have heard this yet, but in Mickey's arsenal of striking objects, some fluorescent green fly swatters have appeared at numerous shows, and they sound great.
Oh, I saw there was some sort of triangular contraption happening during Peggio, I think, that was adding a nice texture. It was cool hearing that. I've been listening pretty hard to those the Wolf Brothers shows that happened, over the pandemic, and where Bob was really kind of going hard into some of that folk stuff with Greg Lee's on pedal steel, and it's kind of become kind of like a new, like I grab some of the recordings, and it's become kind of like a new album for me. So I've been listening a lot to Bob sing that song recently, just in my rotation, and then it was cool to hear it, transferred back to the big band, as it were.
Can we change the subject and talk about the good old Grateful Dead cast, which is, I have to say, the most coolest damn thing to come out of the Grateful Dead culture and scholarship. And I've participated in the Grateful Dead culture and scholarship for decades. You guys have put together the most amazing extended deep dive into this stuff. I could hardly be more thrilled than what you're doing here.
Thank you so much, David. And it's really, said this before, but we couldn't be doing it without the stuff that both of you guys have been doing for so long, and standing on the shoulders of other heads, but thank you. It's been just an
standing
honor.
On the shoulders of heads is a phrase that we're going to be hearing more of in the future.
Anatomically impossible, but fascinating.
Yeah. But it's been nothing but an honor and a thrill to get to have an excuse to just dive into these songs and these albums and these recordings and just chase down all the answers and questions and anything I ever wanted to know about these things, and go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper.
You guys put in the time. I mean, I remember when you and Rich Mahan were traveling around collecting interviews, and then we didn't hear from you for a good long time, and it turned out that you were assembling this immense collection of interviews and artifacts and stuff before you started working, which I think is really great that you have the luxury and the ability to do that rather than have to crank stuff out before you were ready to, it's like you had a picture of the whole thing and you planned them out season by season. And it's just really, again, just brilliantly done.
Thank you. Yeah, and that wasn't totally a plan when we started. We didn't really have a plan when we started. It was just, we kind of went out and did a bunch of interviews, and then kind of began shaping them and see what we had. And we're still kind of tapping into that original stash. But the research part of it is I love, and there's been all these kind of advances actually in technology that have made the whole thing easier to do and easier to kind of sort through all these incredible interviews and recordings that have happened.
Yes.
Where they're, can find archives of old radio interviews with everybody, with Garcia, with Hunter, with, people, everybody else in the band. And then there's this voice transcription technology, and can have all of the interviews, including the ones with you guys, in one place. And then it's we're talking about Owsley. Type in Owsley into the search, and all these references pop up, and it's this incredible.
Wait! It searches audio files.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Wow.
It transcribes them, and then you can drop into wherever you want in the transcription, and it's not 100% perfect, and you get some pretty funny auto transcript errors, but it's close enough to be searchable and functional like that, and it's life-changing.
Yeah.
And
go ahead, Gary.
Well, another incredible feature of the Deadcast was because it was something with the official blessing of the folks at Rhino and the Grateful Dead organization. you had access to stuff in the Grateful Dead vault, outtakes and, individual stems of the recordings. And, you had these two amazing audio detectives diving in there and finding things that no one even knew existed anymore, or had been not heard in decades at least. So tell me more about that.
Yeah, I mean, for Working Man's Dead and American Beauty, especially, Mike Johnson and Brian Kehoe really went deep into the original tapes and found tapes that never circulated, which is crazy in Grateful Dead land. But a whole alternate version of American Beauty, like demos for it that give this different picture of the way the album evolved, as well as this, false start for the album where they actually went and multi-tracked, almost half of the songs, then kind of scrapped it and started over. And Brian had the multi-tracks and was able to, for a couple of the songs, like go through piece by piece and say, oh, this is how the piano was mic'd. Oh, here's an overdub. Here's a guitar part that was on, that they tracked live but removed from the final version of the song. So you really get this picture of really nuanced work. I think American, and this is talking about American Beauty and Working Man's Dead, which, are kind of remembered as the Dead's simple folky albums.
That's another example of the technological advancements. So remember on Anthem to Beauty, part of that was going to Wally Heider's with Stephen Barncart and putting the 2-inch tape up and cycling through the tape and stuff. Well, that's no longer required because the 2-inch tape was transferred into the digital domain. So you have random access to any moment. It's so much easier to get into every corner of the archive in every format now than it used to be. I mean, you could, a few years ago, I listened to like several hundred versions of Dark Star because there they are on the archive. You just dial it up and there they are. It's pretty amazing. But none of that is to diminish the tremendous creative work that you guys put into doing the show. Yeah. Writing it, voicing it, organizing it. Yeah.
Also sounds really fun to go to Wally Heider's and listen to the multi-tracks with Stephen Barncart. Yeah. Sometimes those old technologies, led to cool things. But yeah, it's been just the ability even just to, jump from song version to song version through archive, through tape collecting, through all this stuff is incredible. And just, see the way these grooves changed and evolved. I was thinking about that during Bertha, during that last set, because that's a song that's got a really not necessarily a simple groove. There's the Dead have attacked that groove in so many different ways over the last half century, and you can really kind of get lost in it. It's depending who you're listening to and at what time in it. So it's always fun to see sort of how that's shaped. But this another project of mine has been a listening project, which is fed into the Deadcast, but isn't part of the Deadcast, where I've been trying to go through every show and hear how things evolve and hear how hear how those attacks on the grooves change over time. And it's cool to see it continue to evolve with that.
You mentioned your listening project. You're talking about the fact that on Twitter you re-experienced the Grateful Dead concert of 50 years ago on this date.
Yeah, or experience it for the first time.
Let's tell people about that, because you have a somewhat obscure. What is the source of your Twitter handle, Borgwick?
Bushwick. I used to live in a neighborhood called Bushwick, and that was a silly and hard to spell pun on Bushwick. It was Bushwick. It was what we called the neighborhood.
I've been saying it wrong all this time. Now I understand it.
I'm terrible at coming up with catchy names for things, and that's another in a long line.
Our viewers who are hard to pronounce should look Jesse up and follow him, because he'll do this thing and do literally like a measure by measure, bar by bar, song by song recap of the Dead show that happened 50 years ago on this date. And I saw him doing it and I didn't realize he'd already been doing it for a while. So he said, "Oh yeah, I've been at this for several years already."
Yeah, it just started as a diversion and just kind of, it started a lot less evolved than it is now, where I'm really, trying to find pictures of all the shows and going. One of the amazing things about the Internet Archive, as well as the dead.net, is people post their memories of these shows, and you can kind of get these like scene reports that are folkloric, oftentimes like, oh yeah, they're, just you get, there was one from a couple of weeks ago that was about the Yale Bowl show from '71, where people were, which Gary was at, which they talked. There were a couple people in the comments talking about, oh, that was the first glow stick war. My dad worked for this company, and there were all these glow sticks in the garage or whatever, and we, my friends and I brought them to the show in backpacks, and that's, as far as I know, the first time any of that had shown up at, a hippie concert. So you learn.
And you also noted in your tweet that was the last appearance of the original 5 person lineup of the Grateful Dead.
Yeah, that was yesterday's one. Different slight, that was yesterday's show in Gaelic Park, which I think Gary was also at.
I was there too. That's right. Yeah. Because Pigpen took his leave of absence after that, and then Keith came in, and then Pigpen rejoined. So indeed, that was the last time we saw the core 5. One thing I want to point out about the Deadcast, though, because, talking about all this diving into the vault and finding outtakes, people might think it's just gearhead talk, but one of the real characteristics of it is the narrative is so beautifully crafted. It's great storytelling. You'll find a guy like Bob Matthews, who really didn't talk too much for public attribution for years and years, but was so crucial to the Dead's earliest recordings. And hearing him tell those stories is priceless. And then, then you'll hear hilarious things about things that went wrong. And, it's great narrative storytelling. It's great. I'm a long time fan of radio, the oral experience of something is really a wonderful thing that I think has become a lost art in some ways. And the Deadcast is a really incredible example of that being done really, really well.
Well, thanks. And I really mean it when I say that we're building on stuff that both of you have done. I, grew up in the Dead Hour and various other video documentary type shows that were, sort of popular in that era. On listening in, on the alarm clock radio in my bedroom when I was supposed to be asleep in high school. And that stuff burned its way into my brain. That storytelling, with the musical examples and the oral history is kind of all interwoven. And that's been a real priority for us, is finding witnesses, finding people who were there, finding the people to dig up these stories that, maybe didn't have any context to tell before. And now we have this framework and all these little things kind of fit in to make this bigger, crazier story that, can veer off in all these different directions.
Hey, we should interject.
Sorry, Gary?
Can I just interject? We should remind people that what you're watching right now is called Dead Air with Lambert and Gans. And it is something we're presenting at the break of every show on the Dead & Company tour, in the hopes it will provide more entertainment than a slide that says, please stand by. And I think we're doing pretty good so far. And you can get this if you're just watching the free preview of it. You can get the full broadcast. You can, if you have the means, subscribe to the whole tour. It's available in HD or 4K, and it's been a blast so far, and I don't see any signs of it letting up. So we recommend that you check it out at nugs.net.
Thank you. And I wanted to ask you about the Frau Show. Now you're in radio doing your own program.
I am. It started off extremely late night, and then moved to just regular, very late night, and now it's in the quite reasonable hour of 9 to midnight on Mondays. It used to be 3 to 6 a.m. But it's on WFMU, which is a completely freeform, listener-supported station in Jersey City. But as we say, the freeform station of the nation, and it really is total freedom. So my shows are kind of a mix of really a lot of new music, but I also do a lot of live sound collaging and stacking of things, and basically improvising my way through. There's usually about an hour of each show where I kind of don't know what's going to happen, and I've got a bunch of things sort of in a virtual pile that I know are going to sort of combine and crash off each other in some way, and then see what happens. But because it's non-commercial radio, I can also play live tapes and bootlegs and outtakes and pretty much anything I want, as long as there are no non-literal curse words. figurative curses are okay. I've learned the difference in the late night hours of the FCC's finely grained rules about obscenities on the air. But besides those, total freedom. It's fucking amazing.
And it's on where and when again?
Pardon me?
Tell us where and when it's on again.
It is on from 9 to midnight every Monday night on WFMU, which is can be heard all around the world at WFMU.org and in the New York area at 91.1 FM.
And WFMU is a national frickin' treasure, one of the greatest radio stations anywhere, truly adhering to the ideals of freeform radio, and absolutely a joy to listen to. Great programming all day long, every day. So I urge you to check it out and support your community radio stations everywhere, please.
Yeah, whatever your local is, they could use the love for sure.
That is very true. We should let Jesse go because it's getting close to time for the band to come back.
All right. Well, happy Vanita Day, everybody. Happy 827. Happy Alice Coltrane's birthday.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah.
It's been wonderful.
Yeah, Jesse.
And hello to all enthusiasts out there. Shout out to our Thoughts on the Dead commenter buddies watching.
Yes, and please, Jesse, please come back and visit us on Tales from the Golden Road so we can get a little more expansive on Sirius XM's Channel 23, because we really want to hear about how your new book is coming, which will be right up the alley of a lot of our audience, because it's about the making of surreptitious recordings.
Yeah, totally. And the Dead are right down, the middle part of this 120-year history. They're literally directly in the chronological middle when you go from like wax cylinders, people recording wax cylinders in the opera up to like viral videos. The Dead are, the pivot point in a lot of ways. So looking forward to talking more about that.
Looking forward to seeing that. And we'll talk to you when the book comes out. That's great. Thank you again for being with us.
Yeah, totally. Thanks for having me. See you guys soon.
Thanks, Jesse.
Bye.
All right.
We're told the band is heading for the stage, which means that soon they will step through the amp line and take their spots.
Right. There can always be
What?
There can always be a disparity between urgent and leisurely in their progression to the stage, but we'll see.
I'm just so delighted with what we heard in the first set. I feel like this band, I keep thinking, well, it's going to level off here. It started really, really strong, and it's stayed really interesting and just gotten more interesting, and jams have gotten more intense and stuff, and it's not leveling off. They just keep getting better. So I'm pretty thrilled with what we heard and looking forward to whatever's going to come in set 2.
Indeed. It's been a constant delight. I haven't felt like the music has lagged much for any significant portion of any show so far. And just so many great ideas, just bursting from every corner of the stage. And we're thrilled to be bringing it to you on nugs.net. Once again, we hope you will avail yourself of complete shows, or if you're watching the preview. If you are already tuned into the full stream, we compliment you on your excellent taste. And we also, of course, always want to urge people to support the Rex Foundation and Headcount and the other fine causes that the band has its full weight behind. You can go to their respective websites to check out all the good works they're doing. And I guess we're in that moment. We're in that moment of suspended animation. We're filling time, but that's okay, because there's so much to say about this band, man. I'm not rendered speechless all that often because I get paid to talk about this stuff, but it's been kind of astonishing just how engaged I am in this, and what pleasure I'm getting by being able to watch these shows in a distraction-free atmosphere and apprehend the music in such detail, and then go back and rewatch sections because you have that 48-hour window. This is a pretty sweet deal, if I do say so myself.
I was one of those guys at the show that would like hold still and pay attention to the music. I wasn't so much dancing in the hallway kind of guy. So this is like, the perfect way to take in a concert in that respect. I missed the schmoozing with people before and between sets and all that stuff, but man, being able to watch it and listen to it so clearly at home with the chemicals of my choice and the companions of my choice, it's a pretty cool way to do this thing, I must say. I look forward to being out in crowds again when it is safe, but I'm very happy
Indeed.
with this alternative now. And also, by the way, there are audio-only packages for nugs.net, and there's also a new Sirius XM Platinum package that includes access to portions of the nugs.net library. So if you want to get into Sirius XM, tune into the Grateful Dead channel on Sunday afternoons from 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern for our show, Tales from the Golden Road. You can also get a package that allows you access to the nugs.net library. And we're told that almost everybody's on stage.
I said last one on deck I think that means the whole band is on stage. There's generally a little huddle before they go back out on stage. We're waiting for that magical word, lights, which does not mean a request for that Journey song. What it means is that the house lights are down and the band is ready to play again. So that should be coming any second now if the band is indeed all on stage. And just looking forward to this second set. If it continues the momentum of the first and the momentum of the tour so far, we're all in for some bliss.
We are. And by the
So-
way, these interviews are archived on YouTube. So if you enjoy them, you could share them with your friends. They will include the first song from the second set as well. So there's a sample. Our program is tied to the free sample of set 2 of tonight's show. And the entire tour's worth of these interviews will be archived permanently. And we're pretty proud of some of the conversations we've had so far. So we'll be happy that they're available ongoing. But really,
Yes, and-
what we're really anxious to have is the band return to stage so we can stop talking.
Yes, but there's more of this to come. We are lining up guests as we speak, kind of on the fly. We're filling in those spaces. And there's a bunch of spaces because we're doing this through the end of the tour in October. So we're dealing with the first leg right now, which will be over at Wrigley Field, I think on the 18th of September. Then they take a little break of a few weeks and then get back to it. And we can't wait to see how this whole tour unfolds because it's off to a start of historic proportions.
I'm certainly feeling that way. Musically, it's very, very, very engaging. I could hardly be happier. But I'm repeating myself now, talking about how much I'm enjoying the music of Dead and Company. Where are they? SPAC, Saratoga Performing Arts Center?
Yes. Yes,
It's been
indeed.
the site of many, many beloved Grateful Dead shows over the years, and others. Fish and lots of other bands have played great sets there.
Oh, yeah.
From what
Yeah,
I've
the
heard.
Dead only
I've
played.
never been myself.
I was surprised the Dead only played there 4 times, but the succeeding bands, all of them, Rat Dog, Phil and Friends, the other ones, the Dead, Further, all came to SPAC because it's a really beloved venue for the beautiful grounds, a great lawn, a balcony within the shed portion, which is a great place to see the show from, and then it's very dancer friendly, and so it's always been a great place to hear this kind of music, and long may it run. Beautiful, beautiful place. And it'll be even more beautiful when the house lights go down. That's really a great moment when the second set is about to begin and those house lights go down and you hear the roar of anticipation. That should be happening any nanosecond now.
Please.
Or not.
Please. Register and vote, everybody. I don't care who you vote for as long as you register and vote. Democracy works better when everybody participates. But I would also recommend that you pay attention to what's going on in the world and make your vote an informed one. And I would urge you to make your vote a compassionate and thoughtful one as well. Beyond that, we don't want to get into anything partisan, but registering to vote is a universal, yes, please do this, because we all need to make our voices heard in the running of this world. If you're not happy with the way things are, speak up and help change things for the better.
That's right. The more people participate in democracy, the more representative that democracy is. And our friends at HeadCount are doing heroic work in registering voters and recruiting people to become registrars of voters. So they don't just ask for donations and they don't just ask you to sign up to vote. They also encourage you to become part of the process of broadening our democracy. A beautiful thing.
It is beautiful. And we're still waiting for the lights to go down. We're going to have to develop some kind of more interesting routine than this BS right here.
we could incorporate puppets, there could be.
Well, or we could, we could start like a really, really long countdown clock that obviously has no connection to reality and just have it going down for like 2 days, 23 hours and 11 minutes down, counting down or something like that. Because really, I just feel like a complete blithering fool right now trying to fill this time until they turn the lights off and the band resumes. Seriously, I think at this moment, what we're doing is creating a hazard situation from which the music can rescue people from spiritual distress, having to watch two old men making fools of themselves on the internet.
Well, of course, that's one of the primary functions of the internet, so people are used to it.
I can't even find, there isn't even a cat nearby that I can heave into the picture here. I can show you my Curious George t-shirt, though. I'm pretty proud of my Curious George t-shirt.
Yes. My
form of intoxication.
Right. My WoHop t-shirt has a dead connection too. I wore it especially for Jesse because WoHop is a beloved and venerable dungeon of a Chinese restaurant in the heart of Chinatown in New York City, has been a favorite of Heads for a very long time. For most of its history, it's been open either all night or till 4 a.m. So it was a great post-show hang after Madison Square Garden shows and all that. They are now on truncated hours because of obvious reasons, but we hope they get back to that late night thing because WoHop is the bomb.
There was a place everybody used to go to when Jerry played the Warfield, Toulon. I never went there, but everybody talked about that place. Was it good or was it a terrible place?
Toulon was Vietnamese. It was a total greasy spoon. Lights!
Hey, see you next time.
Sorry to...
Song is singing low. Clock on the wall says it's time to go. I got prayers for you. I tell you exactly what we're all gonna do, yeah. Get in the groove and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long. Come on and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long.
Might be 12 o'clock and it might be 3. Time doesn't mean that much to me. Ain't felt this way since I don't know when. And I don't know when I'm ever gonna feel this way again. So come on.
Get in the groove and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long. Come on and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long.
Might be 6 o'clock, it might be 8. It don't matter that it's getting late. We're gonna make the band play one more song. Get in the groove and if it takes all night long.
Get in the groove and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long. Come on and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long. Get in the groove and let the good times roll. We're gonna stay here till we soothe our soul. If it takes all night long.
way she caught my eye. Couldn't move the hard way just to let her pass by, let her pass by. stopping strangers just to shake their hand. Everybody playing